Welcome back to Cinema Through the Ages, my series where I rank the 5 most iconic movies of each decade according to ChatGPT. I started this all the way back in January with the 1920s. Now in August, we are all the way in the 1990s, and boy, what a decade it was for cinema. Blockbuster movies continue to dominate the box office as advancements in CGI allow directors to push the boundaries of what they could show on screen. At the same time, the 1990s saw a resurgence in indie films, with directors and actors taking risks to bring edgier and bolder stories to audiences, making the decade a thrilling and diverse era for cinema. So, according to ChatGPT, the 5 most iconic movies from this decade are Pulp Fiction, Jurassic Park, The Matrix, The Lion King, and Titanic. As always, I'll be ranking them based on my enjoyment, cultural influence, impact on cinema, and how well they've aged.
Here in London, Prince Charles is boarding Titanic at the film's gala royal premiere.
Upon its release in 1997, Titanic was the most expensive movie ever made and widely expected to be a box office bomb. Within 6 months, it would win 11 Oscars, tying the record for the most at a single ceremony, and become the highest grossing movie of all time, a standing it held for almost 12 years before being displaced by another James Cameron film. Technically, Titanic is a masterpiece. The set design, attention to historical detail, and scale of the sinking sequence push filmmaking standards to new heights. Cameron's meticulous approach to realism, from the ship's reconstruction to the extras and crowd choreography, is staggering. The storyline, a fictional love story set against one of history's greatest tragedies, connected deeply with audiences. At a time when blockbusters were often purely action or adventure, it demonstrated that historical and romantic narratives could be just as profitable. I have it at number 5 because personally, I think the other films are stronger, and while Titanic remains beloved, particularly among millennials, I don't think it really holds the same relevance for subsequent generations. That said, its standing as one of the most successful and iconic movies of all time cannot be denied.
It is now 22 minutes before the hour. I'm over 50 years old, and every time Disney comes out with a new animated movie, I rush off to see it. And all this week, we're going to be looking at the magic that has created the new Disney animated feature. It is called The Lion King.
The 90s in general was a golden decade for animated films, with Disney at the forefront. But The Lion King achieved something no other animated movie did quite to the same effect. It appealed just as much to adults as it did to children. Its story, centered on themes of responsibility, loss, and growth, resonated with audiences worldwide, regardless of age. I'm sure there are many adults who cried when Mufasa died, and probably still do. The shining light of the movie, however, is the music. Hans Zimmer's musical score, paired with songs by Elton John and Tim Rice, became instantly iconic and remain popular today. The characters, from Simba and Mufasa to Timon and Pumbaa, are universally beloved, and the film has maintained a strong presence across generations through stage adaptations, remakes, and merchandise. It sits at number 4 because while beautifully animated and expertly crafted, it didn't push the boundaries of animation in quite the same way as some of its contemporaries. Its influence is rooted in emotional resonance, storytelling, and cultural impact rather than cinematic innovation, but I do really love this movie.
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction changed the game for modern cinema. Quentin Tarantino's bold, non-linear storytelling turned the film into a narrative puzzle, forcing audiences to actually piece together events across multiple interwoven storylines. From the diner robbery to Vincent and Jules' escapades, each segment presented out of chronological order, creating tension, surprise, and a sense of unpredictability that was groundbreaking at the time. The dialogue is razor sharp, endlessly quotable, and filled with pop culture references that defined 90s indie cinema. When you think of the hallmarks of the 90s in general, Pulp Fiction is definitely on that list. Its impact even extends beyond movies. For example, its influence on 90s fashion cannot be understated. Its characters, from Jules and Vincent to Butch and Mia, have become archetypes, and the film's stylistic choices in framing, music, and violence have influenced countless filmmakers in the decades since. So Pulp Fiction earns its place at number 3 because while it is hugely influential and beloved among cinephiles, it doesn't have quite that same broad, ongoing relevance as films like Jurassic Park or The Matrix. It is basically the magnus opus for any cinephile or movie buff, but for the average viewer, it's less likely to be revisited regularly, which slightly lowers its standing. Nonetheless, its impact on storytelling, style, and indie filmmaking ensures it remains an iconic milestone of 1990s cinema.
And welcome to the Empire in London's Leicester Square for the royal premiere of Steven Spielberg's 1993 blockbuster movie Jurassic Park. Now, they had promised me a limousine for tonight, and this is what turned up, but they assure me it's dinosaur-proof. Shall we go, boys?
Jurassic Park redefined what a blockbuster could be. Steven Spielberg combined groundbreaking CGI with practical effects to create dinosaurs that were both terrifying and astonishingly realistic, setting a new standard for visual effects in cinema. It's quite funny, this movie came out 1 year before I was born, and growing up, I just assumed dinosaurs were always really popular and part of the public consciousness. So imagine my surprise when I found out that wasn't really the case until this movie came out. In fact, the general public didn't even have a great understanding of what dinosaurs looked like. That's what's so great about this movie. From the T-Rex chase to the raptors in the kitchen, every sequence is meticulously crafted to balance suspense, awe, and storytelling whilst keeping it feeling realistic. Beyond the technical achievements, the film reshaped the blockbuster formula. It proved that a summer blockbuster could be thrilling, intelligent, and emotionally engaging, appealing to both children and adults. Its pacing, character development, and narrative structure created a blueprint that countless films have followed since. Its influence extends far beyond the cinema screen. From video games to toys, theme park attractions, and pop culture references, Jurassic Park impacted 90s culture in a way few films have. Its ongoing rewatchability, combined with technical innovation, cultural impact, and the lasting franchise, earns its number 2 spot on this list.
The Matrix is a system, Neo. That system is our enemy.
The Matrix is the most influential film of the 1990s and arguably one of the most iconic in modern cinema. The combination of groundbreaking visual effects, including the revolutionary bullet time sequences with intense martial arts choreography, created a cinematic language that had never been seen before. Every action scene is meticulously staged, balancing spectacle with narrative clarity, with the film's philosophical underpinnings, questions about reality, identity, and free will giving it a lasting intellectual weight. Its influence stretches far beyond film. Fashion, music videos, advertising, and even broader pop culture adopted the film's aesthetic and ideas.
People walking around in black trench coats is kind of cool.
The long black coats, sunglasses, and slow-motion dodges became instantly recognizable symbols of the 90s, while its themes continued to spark discussion decades later. Some viewers even reported struggling to process the idea of reality itself after watching it, briefly questioning whether their world might be a simulation, a testament to how profoundly the film challenged audiences. The Matrix earns the top spot not just for its technical brilliance or cultural impact, but because it changed how movies could be made, conceived, and experienced. It's a film that's still discussed, analysed, and referenced, and its influence can be seen in almost every action and sci-fi movie that came after it. For its innovation, enduring relevance, and sheer impact on cinema, it is undoubtedly the defining film of the 90s. And that's the end of my ranking of the most iconic movies of the 1990s, a decade that gave us some of the most culturally impactful films of all time. Next time, we'll jump into the 2000s, a decade that saw the rise of superhero franchises, the evolution of CGI blockbusters, and a new era of franchise filmmaking that defined modern Hollywood.